Marvel Rivals Season 4 Heart of the Dragon begins on September 12th. So it appears as though details have been revealed for Marvel Rivals' upcoming season, which, despite all these talks about the player base dying and the meta being the worst state it's ever been, people are actually quite excited about this new update coming later this month. Everybody was practically clawing their way to that Division vlog with Guang Guang and Jiyoung. I wouldn't know personally because I was too busy waiting in line to get Silksong and watching as Steam and all these other platforms crash with the influx of players waiting to get this highly anticipated indie game. I mean, NetEase is timing, man. It's impeccable to say the least. But there are some cool things to cover here, like the new heroes, the new map, desperately needed features, and more. I mean, let's start with this flying Reinhardt of a hero, Angela. I mean, my god, having this Herculean bullet train just make a beeline past the team directly towards you is probably going to be one of the scariest things in this game. But thank Khonshu, she's a vanguard. I mean, releasing 2 duelists within a single season is far from the worst thing NetEase has done in a while, but man, is it close. Her kit looks like a ton of fun to play, yet at the same time looks like an absolute nightmare for strategists. The suffering only continues, I suppose. So she's actually the game's first true flying tank, which I know Doctor Strange can technically levitate, but this is the first within the Vanguard class that can constantly fly if enabled. Here's a look at her abilities within the game, which seems to be this mix between this boots on the ground brawler and this flying battering ram. I sort of see her fulfilling one of 2 roles, right? One is a sort of off-tank role where she's sort of diving into the enemy line, sort of similar to Venom and Captain America. In this case, it probably would be best to pair her with a main tank like Doctor Strange or Magneto in order to help balance out the team a little bit, especially since her shield is only really 300 points strong and is fairly small, so it feels like it's more catered towards personal use rather than to protect the whole team. I kind of see her becoming like the tank version of Wolverine, right? Because her dive can swoop up enemies, so she's more so going to be used for displacement more than anything. Being able to pin multiple enemies and bringing them to a specific location for your team to focus on is probably going to be one of her biggest strengths. And she also seems like the main answer towards the Flyers meta that has been plaguing these past couple of seasons. That, or sort of fulfilling a Bridget kind of role, where you're sort of waiting in the back line with your strategist waiting for a Black Panther, a Magic, or an Iron Fist to dive them, and then just taking them away in order to protect the strategist. I mean, I say that, right? But what's most likely going to happen is you're going to see an Angela dive right into a 1v6 fight and die within seconds. But I actually think her ultimate is the scariest part of her kit, as a sort of ranged Malga cage fight ability. I mean, being able to not only tether nearby enemies but also slam down on them for an extra wave of damage, it definitely showcases a lot of synergy potential. We're also going to get Daredevil within the second half of the season, and it's looking like he's shaping up to be a duelist, which is exactly what we needed. And if he sounds familiar, it's because his voice actor also plays these characters.
Correct.
I mean, not much is really known about his kit at the moment, but we did get a small glimpse of what he's potentially capable of within the trailer. I mean, with the whole smoke encompassing the battlefield and the sign above Angela's head, it's sort of leaning towards potentially Daredevil being able to blind enemies, sort of similar to Cloak. And if you look at the Season 4 key art, you can also see that Daredevil's batons have these extra chains extending out to them for potentially extra range. I'm interested to see how he plays, but I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get a new strategist this season. Maybe in the next one. Another big topic was the new team-up changes coming with Season 4. Angela becomes the new anchor for Thor's team-up, where he's able to throw a Thunder Spear, gain Thor Force, and then leap to the spear's location for an extra burst of damage. Every day, Thor becomes less of a vanguard and more of a DPS character. We're also going to get a few team-up changes, and I say that nervously because some of these are literally nightmare fuel. First up, Magic and Black Panther's team-up will be removed, which I don't think anybody will really miss because nobody ever really used them. And in their place, oh boy, we got literal hell. Magic basically gets a better version of Mr. Fantastic's ability, where she's able to basically chain 2 enemies together and slow them. And Black Panther, I can't believe I'm saying this, is going to receive a Gamma Shield when his health drops below a certain threshold. I mean, this just confirms it. NetEase has a vendetta against all strategist mains out there. On top of having a character that literally moves too fast for anybody to keep track of, they're also making him even harder to kill. I understand because of NetEase's work pipeline, these get planned way in advance, but I just want to meet the person who came up with this idea and just find out who hurt them. And all the balance changes coming with Season 4 are probably some of the most drastic changes we've seen with Marvel Rivals so far. After so long, Luna Snow and Loki are finally getting nerfed. 2 of the best strategists, scratch that, probably 2 of the best characters in the game are finally being addressed. Which means the meta actually has a chance of changing this time around. Luna's ultimate duration is being reduced down to 10 seconds, and Loki's outgoing healing and damage will also be reduced. And don't get me wrong, these are very good changes, but I think they should have gone further. I don't know why they're always so stingy when it comes to these types of changes. I mean, with every kind of nerf we've gotten over the past couple of seasons, they've always been so minor at best, and then oftentimes they've often taken one thing away and added another, almost like they're afraid of breaking the characters or something. I mean, 10 seconds is still a very long time for Luna's ultimate, and sure, players are going to be a little bit more selective for when they use it, but it's still going to have a major impact on the match nonetheless. I kind of wish they were a bit bolder with these changes, like they have been for some of the buffs described in Season 4. In this new patch, Jeff the Landshark, Invisible Woman, and Ultron will have their ultimates buff. What really stands out to me is that Jeff will now leave a healing pool when he initially dives down for his It's Jeff ultimate, because that's exactly what we need, another healing circle ultimate. I actually think Jeff is a very slept on pick because he actually saw a lot of play during esports, but I don't know, we'll have to see how these changes actually turn out. Some of the duelists are also getting a few big changes, like Magic got a whole flurry of buffs this season. Like on top of the new team up, Magic projectile now pierces through enemies. I think these changes have been made in order to bring her more in line with some of the other melee characters in the game, case in point Black Panther and Wolverine. Moon Knight is getting a second Moonblade charge, sick. Winter Soldier's Trooper's Fist now removes movement abilities for 1 second, kinda scary, and Scarlet Witch's ultimate now deals 9,999 damage. Oh, and it also drags enemies into the ultimate, which it just sounds ridiculous. NetEase really just woke up and said, you know what this game needs? A nuclear bomb. See, this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to buffing characters, they're so unhinged, but when it comes to knocking down characters a peg or two, they're so timid, they're so scared. Vanguards also have a few decent changes. Emma Frost's beam attack now charges less quickly, and her diamond form now has a longer cooldown. Apparently she was one of the most popular picks during the mid-season finals, which was basically this big esports event, so it's no surprise that she got a few nerfs this time around.
We're not here to take part, we're here to take over.
Both Penny Parker and Thor will also get some pretty big buffs. Like for example, Thor's ultimate now moves a whole lot quicker, and once he crashes down to the ground, all surviving enemies within range will be stunned for 1 second. Penny Spider Drones will also slow enemies, which stacks up to 40%. There were also some other changes as well, but these were the biggest highlights. What is interesting to know is that powerful picks within Season 3 like Magneto, Phoenix, and Human Torch were basically left untouched within this patch. I know certain characters like Phoenix and Human Torch were nerfed throughout the season, but even so, it still feels weird not to address them coming into the new season. I don't know what the deal is there, maybe NetEase knows something we don't, but even so, like going into Season 4, I feel like the meta is only going to become even more punishing now, because these are not small changes. Some of these buffs are pretty significant, and with Luna, Snow, and Loki now, finally being nerfed, who knows how the meta will shape up now. And players are a lot better than they were back in Season 0, so I don't know, I just feel like it's asking for anarchy to ensue. There were also a lot of quality of life changes announced in the dev vision. Placement matches are currently in the works, but they won't be arriving in Season 4. Even so, this is a massive win in my books, because it's a step in the right direction to ensure that matches feel a lot more balanced. Matchmaking was the biggest talking point of the season, and is probably the biggest gripe people have with Marvel Rivals at the moment. And it's because of this whole conspiracy theory surrounding EOMM, or otherwise known as Engagement Optimized Matchmaking. The long and short of it is that people felt that Marvel Rivals was artificially manipulating matches in order to keep people engaged and, well, to keep them playing basically. You'd see these posts online about how people were going on these insane winning and losing streaks, and nobody could quite pinpoint what exactly was going on, but it didn't feel natural to say the least. And it grew to such an extent that people were convinced that it was no longer really a superstition anymore. And it prompted NetEase to release an entire video discussing how matchmaking works in order to debunk that theory. Even though placements is definitely a welcome feature, I don't think this is going to be an end-all solution to this. I still think people are going to be upset about the end result of matches no matter what, and I still think there are some issues with the matchmaking system that clearly need to be addressed. But this is a very good sign that the developers are quite in sync with the community and are ready to act on feedback. It's definitely a nice change of pace compared to other live service AAA developers, where it often feels like you're screaming into a brick wall. So it's actually pretty cool to see a feature added to a game as big as Marvel Rivals because of popular demand. And I mean, this extends to all other features being added to the game. Slow walk for PC for that
Aura family.
Costume VFXs being visible to the entire lobby, don't worry, you can turn that off. And even a custom select screen screen which will let you favorite certain characters, making insta-locking easier than ever. Arcade modes are becoming a permanent feature in the game, and this comes with a new mode called Free Fight, which is basically Clone Rumble but on steroids. The standard Marvel Rivals match but with no restrictions on duplicate heroes. I'm kinda disappointed that Battle Matrix didn't make a return. I really enjoyed it, but I understand that a lot of people didn't. But honestly, I don't see this really having a lot of longevity aside from the initial surge in player counts near the beginning of the season. I came across a suggestion online to potentially make the arcade modes, you know, a part of the queuing experience that people can log into whilst they're waiting for a match, which I don't actually think is a bad idea, to be honest. I mean, sure, it's going to be annoying to see players constantly leave matches, but it's arcade at the end of the day. It's not really meant to be taken seriously. At the same time though, I don't know how tangible this could be, because with Overwatch, it was the case that matches would take nearly 10 to 20 minutes in order to get into the game, that you could actually have some time to play within the arcade modes whilst you waited. Marvel Rivals queue times are a lot shorter by comparison, at least now within Season 3 to Season 4, so I don't really know how effective this will actually be. By the time you actually log into an arcade game, you might have already found a ranked match in order to log into anyway. We also got a closer look at some of the content being added during Season 4, at least the first half of it anyway. The Battle Pass got revealed through the streamer preview event, and it's probably the strangest one we've gotten so far. And that's because it's the first one that doesn't necessarily have a theme to it. In Season 0, it was all about the Wakandan Empire. In Season 1, it was all about these gothic vampire hunters. In Season 2, everybody was dressed smart and proper for the Hellfire Gala. And even in Season 3, you had the duality between the Phoenix Force and the symbiotes. Here we got the Lunar Snow skin, which should have been released in Season 3. We got the Winter Soldier embracing the winter side of him, I suppose. The best Star-Lord skin to date, which looks like it belongs to the Steampunk Wild West collection, a classic Captain America alongside an old man skin for Hawkeye, Doctor Strange as a Smurf for some reason, the Dark Phoenix skin continues the trend of horrible hairstyles for Phoenix, Loki for some reason embracing his persona for a Dungeons and Dragons campaign, a classic skin type Magneto skin, and in a season all about dragons and mystical arts and demons and angels fighting one another, the apex skin for the season is Moon Knight in a mecha suit. But I won't lie, this skin actually looks kind of cool. There's also the Immortal Beast collection, which includes skins for Iron Fist, Storm, Angela, and Wolverine. I wouldn't be surprised if these were the skins originally planned for the Battle Pass, but they were like, actually, we kind of cooked it. Let's sell them separately so we can charge more money. Angela will also release with the Skull 2099 skin, a blue variation, and some emojis. Do people actually use emojis? I've never really seen one outside of 1 or 2 occasions. Ultron Squall of Immortal Beast actually looks kind of cool and will be free as part of an event. There's also going to be a second wave of beach skins as well for Punisher, Invisible Woman, Mantis, Human Torch, and The Thing. I know the first wave was very popular, so I anticipate this will also be a smash hit as well. September 26th is also going to be a pretty big day, as that's when the new map Kunlun Heart of Heaven will be introduced to the game. I hope it's in stark contrast with some of the more recent maps we've been getting, because they all kind of feel the same, to be honest. They're either dark and gothic, dark and metallic, or dark and gooey, I suppose. The last colorful map we really got was Krakoa, so I'm hopeful that Kunlun will, you know, break the trend and go in that direction. And there'll be new charms available for Scarlet Witch, Lunar Snow, Cloak and Dagger, and Magneto. And everything ends on October 3rd with Emma Frost getting the Hellfire Protocol skin. And the last major announcement is that Marvel Rivals is coming to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 4 Pro. Interesting that it's not coming to Xbox One, further cementing it as one of the worst consoles in modern history. Well, aside from the Wii U. For the base PlayStation 4 is going to have a resolution of 1080p and a frame rate of 30 FPS, whilst the PlayStation 4 will have a resolution of 1440p and a frame rate of 60 FPS. That sounds kind of rough, I'm not gonna lie. Don't even get me started on how it's going to handle mechanics like the Doctor Strange portal. By the end of the season, there's going to be a ton of PlayStation 4s that are just going to be set on fire. I'm also interested to see how it sort of looks as well. I anticipate it to look somewhat like how Mortal Kombat 1 did on the Nintendo Switch. I know Marvel Rivals has a, let's call it, special relationship with PlayStation in particular, especially as it holds the PlayStation Cups. So I don't know if that's sort of like an extension of that partnership. And that pretty much covers everything coming with Marvel Rivals Season 4. We'll likely have to wait until closer to October to hear anything about Daredevil and things that will come in the Season 4.5 update. Perhaps Resource Rumble coming to competitive, or new lore developments for the 5 people that actually read it. Who knows? But for now, I'm gonna go see if Marvel Rivals will run on my PlayStation 4, or if it ends up turning the console into a supernova. So I'll catch you next time.